You've got a mower sitting in your shed right now with a decade on the clock. Still starts on the second pull. Still lays down a stripe your neighbor's big box special never could. Somebody wants you to think that machine just got obsolete overnight. There's an ad running right now for something called the Kutter ZTR-62C, a 62-inch deck, a 500-hour test, and a price tag that undercuts a Skag or a Ferris by thousands. The pitch is simple. China just built the mower that outlasts everything American. That's what the ad wants you to believe. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what this machine is, what it isn't, and which 3 American builders don't have a single thing to worry about. And before anybody accuses me of being soft on Chinese manufacturing, that's not what this is. This is about whether one ad is telling you the truth. Here's what's actually on the page. The Kutter ZTR-62C runs a 62-inch fabricated welded steel deck with 3 blades cutting 1 to 5 inches. The engine is a Zongshen XP 1000 EFI, 35 horsepower, a 999 cubic centimeter twin with electronic fuel injection. That's a real engine builder, by the way. Zongshen is Chongqing Zongshen Engine Manufacturing, founded in 1992, not a garage operation stamping logos on cheap castings. The transaxle listed is a Hydrogear ZT-3800, and that name should stop you cold, because Hydrogear is a real American company out of Sullivan, Illinois. They unveiled the ZT-3800 at the GIE Plus Expo back in October of 2018. A 12 cubic centimeter pump, 16 cubic centimeter motor, all steel gear train. Dealers like Russo Power Equipment sell that unit alone for around $2,363. That's not a knockoff part. That's the same transaxle you'd find bolted into plenty of American commercial machines. The machine weighs about 1,186 pounds, holds nearly 2 gallons of fuel, and tops out around 12 miles per hour forward. And then there's the number doing all the heavy lifting in the ad. A 500-hour endurance test on that ZT-3800, which the factory says simulates 3+ years at 30 hours a week. Wholesale price quoted factory direct out of China, somewhere around $4,700 to $4,900. Tell me that's not the plan? Real transaxle name, real engine builder, one scary impressive number, and a price that makes a Ferris look like a ripoff by comparison. And I'll give credit where it's due. Whoever built that spec sheet did their homework. They didn't invent a fake transaxle name the way some overseas listings do. They picked a name your buddy at the dealership would actually recognize, bolted it under a real deck, and let the number do the selling. But go looking for the frame gauge, the actual chassis holding that engine and transaxle together, and there's nothing published anywhere. Not on the spec page, not in the FAQ, not in the brochure. That's not an accident. But here's where I started pulling the thread, and it came apart fast. There is no American dealer for this machine. None. I checked Tractor Supply, I checked eBay, I checked Amazon, I checked every regional dealer network a 62-inch commercial mower would realistically move through. Nothing. The company's own website is set up for wholesale and private label orders, 3-unit minimum, container load pricing, 21 units per 40-foot container. That's not a machine built to sell one at a time to a guy in Nebraska. That's a factory looking for somebody else to slap their own name on it and sell it here. And that means what you think it means. There isn't a single independent review of this specific mower anywhere. Not a YouTube teardown, not a forum thread, not a Reddit post from somebody who's actually run one for a season. Every testimonial on their site is self-published. A guy named James in Texas, a parks department in Michigan. I couldn't verify either one exists. And before you go looking this up yourself and get confused, there's a company called King Kutter that's real. Winfield, Alabama, founded in 1978, family-owned, building rotary cutters and finish mowers and tillers for farm dealers and Tractor Supply for almost 50 years. That is not this. That is not even close to this. The Kutter brand on that zero turn belongs to a completely different outfit 12 time zones away. And I'd bet good money the name similarity isn't an accident. That wasn't even the strangest part of the page. Their own spec sheet contradicts itself. One section says 1-year warranty. Another section on the same page claims a 2-year commercial warranty on the transmission and the deck welds. Pick one. So who's actually building this thing? No dealer to answer for it, no reviewer who's touched one, and a warranty page that can't agree with itself. That's not the profile of a company standing behind a product. That's the profile of a listing built to move containers, not to service customers. The site itself names the company Liaocheng Jade Outdoor Power Equipment out of Liaocheng in Shandong Province. Their contact information runs through a WhatsApp line and an email tied to the company, not a stateside phone number, not a US business address. This is a straight export operation. And once I went looking, the ZTR-62C stopped looking unique real fast. The same platform, same 62-inch deck, same weight, same hydro gear branding shows up listed on Alibaba as a generic 35 horsepower unit. It shows up again on Made in China under a completely different trademark called Early Bird. Same dimensions, same drivetrain claim, 572 kilos instead of 538. Same mower, 3 different name tags. Whoever's buying the container decides what sticker goes on the hood. That's the kind of detail that makes a small engine man's blood pressure spike, because it tells you exactly what you're dealing with. This isn't a brand with an identity. It isn't a company that stands behind a machine with its name on it year after year. It's a factory floor churning out a platform, and whatever business buys the pallet gets to decide what badge goes on the hood before it ships. Today it's Kutter. Tomorrow it could be Early Bird, or some other name nobody's heard of yet, slapped on the exact same deck with the exact same transaxle underneath it. Think about what that means for you 5 years from now. If that ZT-3800 grenades, if a spindle seizes, if the deck cracks along a weld, there's no dealer holding parts for Kutter specifically, because Kutter isn't really a company you can hold accountable. It's a label, and a label doesn't answer the phone when your mower is dead in the yard and you're trying to figure out who actually owes you a fix. That's the real cost hiding behind that low factory number, not the sticker price. The fact that nobody stands behind the name once the container's unloaded. Here's the part that's actually worth your attention, and it's the reason I don't think a single dollar figure in that original ad means what it's supposed to mean. That factory quote of $4,700 to $4,900 is FOB China, free on board. That means it's the price to load the mower onto a ship in a Chinese port. It is not what lands in a dealer's lot in Ohio, and it never was. Gasoline zero turns from China get hit with a Section 301 tariff of 25%, and that's been sitting on the books since 2018. The U.S. Trade Representative reviewed it in May of 2024 and kept it exactly where it was. There was also a stretch through 2025 where additional emergency tariffs got layered on top. But in February of 2026, the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that those additional tariffs were never legal to begin with, and they got wiped out. The 25% Section 301 tariff, the one that's been there since 2018, wasn't touched. That one's not going anywhere. So let's run the numbers slow, because this is the whole video. $4,700 FOB China. Add the 25% Section 301 duty, and you're already past $5,800 before the mower's even loaded on a boat. Add ocean freight for a machine that size. Add the oversized trailer surcharge. That alone runs over $2,000. Add EPA and CARB compliance paperwork. Add a dealer's floor plan interest and margin. Add a warranty reserve for a brand with 0 American parts history. You don't land at $4,700. You land somewhere a real dealer would have to charge close to $9,000 or $10,000 just to keep the lights on. And that's before anybody's made a dime of profit. At that point, you're not comparing a bargain to a Skag. You're comparing a Ferris with a Monroe, New York address to an unknown with a WhatsApp number, for roughly the same money. And somehow, the ad never mentions a single part of that math. If you want the real math pulled apart like this before you ever click buy, that's exactly what this channel does every week. Subscribe so the next breakdown finds you first. Now zoom out, because none of this happens in a vacuum. A Skag Turf Tiger 2 61-inch deck built in Mayville, Wisconsin, runs around $16,650 with the 31 horsepower Briggs Vanguard, and up around $22,936 with the 25 horsepower Kubota diesel. An Exmark Laser Z 60-inch built in Beatrice, Nebraska, runs about $12,399 to $13,699 depending on the engine. A Ferris YS700Z 60-inch, built in Monroe, New York, comes in around $9,699 with a 26 horsepower Briggs commercial engine and dual hydro gear ZT3-400 transaxles. Every one of those numbers comes with a dealer network standing behind it. Now hold that 500-hour test up to the light. Exmark's own website says a Laser Z can run between 2,000 and 3,000 plus hours. A buyer's guide I found put it plainly. Prosumer mowers typically fail somewhere between 500 and 800 hours, while true commercial machines run 2,000 to 3,000 plus before major work is needed. So that 500-hour number the ad is so proud of isn't a commercial duty rating at all. It's prosumer territory, wearing a commercial marketing budget it hasn't earned. I also checked for recalls or trade complaints tied to this brand. Nothing. No CPSC filing on Kutter or the parent company, Jade. Compare that to real recalls on real commercial zero-turn mowers. Kubota pulled the ZD-1000 series in 2019 over a fire hazard. Toro recalled Z Master units in both 2009 and 2013. Exmark had a Laser Z recall back in 2004. Cub Cadet recalled the RZTS-0 in 2018. Those are real companies with real U.S. operations, and when something goes wrong, there's a paper trail and a fix. And the invasion narrative itself doesn't hold up. Chinese lawnmower exports are surging, but almost none of that growth is gas zero turns. It's robotic mowers. No trade publication has documented Chinese gas zero-turn mowers taking market share from Skag, Exmark, Ferris, Gravely, Bad Boy, Hustler, Wright, or Grasshopper. Not one. So here's where I land on it. The parts on that spec sheet are real. What's fake is the story wrapped around them. No dealer, no reviews, no honest landed price, and a 500-hour number sold to you as commercial durability. If you want a 62-inch zero-turn still running when your grandkids are cutting the same yard, put your money on a name with a plant address you can drive to. Skag out of Mayville, Exmark out of Beatrice, Ferris out of Monroe. And if that machine in your shed is one of theirs, relax. Nothing about a factory quote changes what's already paid off and running.